pass into the hole, and
Irene
down
Welton?
it goes
Oh,
by
no,
Claudia Watford. Well, Watford, who put that down.
You were locked into Irish name mode, and you had to revert
Yes.
to Switzerland name mode there, weren't you? Yeah, good finish, good touch. I think Switzerland are a more structured team, and actually do have some decent athletes in there as well. Spain, they'll run around, they'll generate chances through that. So this can go either way. What's the head-to-head?
Head-to-head, they played each other once before on a Wednesday, and Switzerland won 6-4.
6-4 isn't a huge margin,
No.
so you could spring a surprise here. Who knows?
They could indeed. Switzerland do have the ball as the pitch one is bathed in sunshine. It's probably the warmest it's been all day about now, because we've had a really cold breeze blowing most of the day across this balcony. The sun does hit it at this time, so it's warmed up nicely. Unfortunately, it's only hitting my legs, so I'm warm at the bottom.
I'm gonna hang you off the edge of the balcony like a gangster just to warm you up. It's cold in the shade and it's warm in the sun. It's a very English summer day. Because I was up here with you earlier, I went out for a stroll around the grounds and warmed up nicely, and now I'm back up here and send help, send thermals. I just realised we've got Anya Tomazuska, who I think is about to award that try as the on-field referee, refereeing her countrywoman. Oh, well, country of residence, because I think she's Polish. But yeah, Anya Tomazuska just gave that try. She's based in Switzerland, so they'll be her clubmates, they'll be some of her friends on this team. But we're all good, we're all neutral when we come to ref, So
2-0 Switzerland lead.
Two really well executed scores. There's not much to be said. I think if you're playing good, open, aggressive kind of structured touch like they are, I think Spain are going to struggle with that. They don't seem to have that same structure to their game.
Yeah, it's Spain who looking to get one back from the tap off. Good defence so far by Switzerland, and the ball just put down a little too hard, which means it rolls, and that means Switzerland will have possession back. Yeah,
lost in the roll ball there, wasn't it? Not too good. They got up to the line, they had a little chance they might have struck off the back of, so there's always options, but now we're driving to the middle.
We are indeed in Switzerland. Going through, good drive so far. Picked up in the middle and looking to go to the middle outside, but it's too many touches, and Spain have possession once again.
So what can Spain give us here? What can Spain try out? I think if you've got a semi-final, you've got a team like England, I think, you know what I'd say? I think, do you want to try and play the way that the teams you're up against play? If they're athletes, if they've got the ball skills, maybe they should look to play a bit more expansively. There's a little opportunity here on the outside. I wanted us to straighten and try for the 2-on-1, but she scooped, and there might be an option here. I didn't think back inside was the option.
Just to let everyone know that the Switzerland who will be playing Scotland in the semi-final, that will be on this pitch tomorrow. And then we will have the women's 27 final. I think that is at 2:50. So
nothing but knockout touch tomorrow, I think. Or maybe the last dribble drabble of pool
we've
games.
Got a men's open round robin to open the day. I think that's Belgium against Scotland, but then it's knockout all the way from there.
It's quite funny that the way it works with the format. So we're going to have a touch and pass in the middle over here. It's quite funny how it works with the format that you've got teams still finishing off games against each other before the finals, and in a few cases, I know I was speaking to Dan Powell, who's the England senior mixed player. He was saying that they're playing France in a round robin game in the morning, and they're playing France in the final in the afternoon. So yeah, it's another little dynamic, isn't it? You're up against the exact same team later that day. How hard do you go? What can you put in their heads?
That's a really difficult one, isn't it? Because if you play the game you're planning to play in the knockout, are you giving too much away? It's a really difficult one, and that must be a real quandary if you're a coach.
I know I've spoken to... So look, I'm a very one-dimensional man, I'm a very simplistic man, so I think I can operate on multiple levels. I've spoken to coaches who do say they keep some of their playbook back early in tournaments. A lot of the more the teams with a bit more support staff, or the teams who've sort of got the countries who've got multiple teams at the tournament, might send someone over and say, right, you know, we're playing our men's open game over here, you're playing our next opposition over there, let's have a look, let's see what we can do. And that does sort of justify maybe keeping some things in reserve. The only other thing though is, I don't want to sound like I don't want to be wrong. I never want to be wrong, and often am, but never mind. It's not a huge game of subterfuge. It's not a massive game where you can completely... Your advantage from concealing what you're going to do is much less than your advantage from being drilled in what you're going to do. And the only way you get drilled in it is by doing it in a game. The majority of scores, you can tell the opposition what's going to happen, and they'd struggle to defend it much better if you execute it well. So, you know, I think there's an element of that. I think you can overthink this idea of, like, what do we keep in the bank? What's our sort of dynamite, you know, finals only firecracker play? Kick left and there's an overlap that's gone the other way. There's a space in the middle as well. But long hair, I've been saying. You wanna play touch? No long hair.
Right, we're just going to take a break here for a second, and let's head over to Ian in the studio. Over to you, Ian.
Welcome to the studio. Hello everybody, here we are with the studio, and I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Jack from the Italian team. First time we've been chatting to Team Italy, but how's it been going this week?
Pretty good. We're just having fun, really, for first thing. And also playing is good, the level is really high, and we're not really used to play at this level in Italy, but we're really enjoying. We have some wins as well, so that's good.
That's really good. It's the idea for the week then to gain experience and take it forward.
Yeah, for sure. And also we have some young players. They are gaining a lot of experience and confidence, playing at high level, at high rhythm, and really, it's, for us, a more experienced player is it's fine. We already played some Euros, but every time we try to learn something and try to bring something back home in Italy to teach to other young players.
And talking of Italy then, back home, how popular is the sport of touch?
Not much, actually.
We want it to grow, don't we?
Yeah, and also because of COVID we had a huge impact. But we are growing back, like we are 300-400 players now, and we managed to have a championship in Italy this year for the first year after I think 2 or 3 years, of course because of COVID, and it's growing. The level it's not that high as I said, but hopefully also this experience will
exactly playing against the teams who are at that level is only going to help, isn't it? Long term. How tall are you, by the way, Jack? Because you're absolutely look.
I don't know in feet. I know you use feet. I'm I think 6'4", 6'5", 195 in centimeters. Now so I'm more comfortable with metrics.
Jack, we are going to bring somebody else in very quickly. She doesn't know we're going to do this. She's currently on the phone taking pictures. Gaia, come on. Gaia, over you come. She wants to do a little piece to camera. She'll start celebrating. Here she comes.
Yes.
Have you got a message?
Yes. Ciao a tutti amici italiani!
Thank you so much. We're going to hand back to your commentary team for the resumption of this game. Big thanks to Italy for coming down. Best of luck.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Ian. And no further additions to the score here, as it's still 2-0 that Switzerland lead, as Spain are on the attack.
It's been a similar kind of game. Spain have this pace, they have this running ability, but they just can't quite get into the gaps. They can't quite find the spaces that's going to get them over that white line.
They're just going over to the right hand side, but Switzerland following them. Good defence.
Switzerland are really secure. They look really comfortable with what they're up to when they're defending here. So I don't think they've seen anything yet that'll frighten them.
Yeah, I do wonder from what we've seen so far, if both teams are just holding a little something in reserve. They know tomorrow is a huge day for them. They know they're both secured their semi-final berth. Spain obviously facing England, so they're going to face a tough game. But at the same time, Switzerland facing Scotland, second against third. We saw fifth against sixth in that quarter-final earlier. And it's a similar sort of scenario, isn't it?
Well, actually, not to diminish the game in front of us, but I'm really curious, what's the head-to-head of the second... I've completely blanked on the name of a country. This is why I've never been good at geography quizzes. Of Switzerland and Scotland.
Switzerland, Scotland. I'll just bring Switzerland
because that
results
probably is a bit of a tight one. I don't think Scotland are too far ahead of Switzerland.
So Tuesday in the opening day, Switzerland lost 6-2 to Scotland. But then yesterday they drew 5-5 with Scotland.
All right, let's focus on the last one because I hate being wrong. That makes it very saucy, doesn't it? So
it does indeed.
I think if you've got potentially, let's look at that in the light of you've got a Switzerland team who struggled to find themselves on the first day and then got there. Then you're in an interesting situation. You've got two very even teams, which is funny, really. There's something liberating for Spain. They know that they're not really necessarily going to have a lot of luck against that England 35s team. I should declare an interest here.
If you want to do the head-to-head there, Tuesday England beat Spain 10-0, then yesterday England beat Spain 12-1. So it's knockout rugby. Anything can happen. And listen,
but you've got to say England go into that game heavy favourites. Yes, the heaviest of favourites. You need a forklift to. Oh, nice little check in from the Switzer. Oh, and it's off again, but it's down. As is a player as well. Actually, I don't think there's any malice in it. I think they're just making sure she's okay.
Yeah, just back up. She's fine. So that's good to see.
That's number 10 is Irene Welty. Always strong opinions on the refereeing. She does a little bit of it herself and likes to give us an idea of where we're going wrong. So she might have had her own opinions on that touch. And there's an over the mark there. Anya Tomazuska is going to give that one. So can we get top scorers in the division? I'd love to know. So we've got an England team that should go into that heavy favourite. It's an England team that probably will go into that with one eye on the final. But equally, that creates its own risks. That creates its own situations where, are you fully geared into that game? Are you fully in the right place to give yourself the best chance?
I can probably give you top scorers for each individual team, but
let's do top scorers for England and see what we've got.
For England?
And then
give me a second.
While we've got you doing Bill Frindle, what's Spain's highest margin of, what? I'll let you do the first one before I stack you up.
Anna Wilson is the top scorer for England, 19.
Yeah, fantastic. So very strong players in that 27s team. So they've got, and Anna Wilson's a link, I think, in that team, and really able to find those gaps. And I think that the Swiss defence, which isn't, the Spanish defence, which has already been found wanting a couple of times by Switzerland, is going to really struggle to deal with that threat from England.
Spain have 2 victories in the competition so far, both against Ireland, 7-2 and 3-2. And then they had a 6-all draw against Wales, and another 5-all draw against Wales. So I think that's what's taken them up into 4th place, is that slight superiority in points that they've got over Wales and Ireland. So that's put them into the semi-final. If you look at them against Scotland, for example, 8-0 and 11-2 losses. We've already mentioned 10-0 and 12-1 losses to England. And then they had a 6-4 loss to Switzerland in the previous time that they played. So their narrowest loss margin is 6-4 against Switzerland.
So what's interesting for me in that is they are putting scores down. You know, we're a long way into this first half and they've not got over the whitewash, but they can. So what can they show us? That's my thing. What can they give us in this half to get themselves over the line, get themselves on the scoreboard?
Yeah, the 28 scores they've made in this competition so far, but they have the 4th best defensive record, and that's probably what's seen them through.
Yeah, I think that, and actually that's where athleticism helps you out. structure is all well and good, but actually if you can just chase real hard, you can probably keep out an awful lot of attacks, and I think it's done them reasonably well here. If you think about the Swiss scores, I don't know why I found that hard to say. If you think about the Swiss scores, they've mostly involved little checkbacks, little touch-specific things, whereas when they just try and beat someone on the outside, Spain are more than equal to it. That's something for England to think about, I think. But equally, that's a very capable women's 27s team that will probably have that in the locker and definitely have ways to protect themselves.
And the thing is, it's a very round robin and knockout is very different. We see it in the NTS, the morning round robins. When it comes to the knockout stages in the afternoon, they're very, very different games, very, very different levels of intensity. And I expect you're going to see exactly the same tomorrow when we get to the knockout stages in all of these competitions.
Yeah, definitely. All of a sudden, it focuses the mind, it changes things up. So I think we'll definitely be seeing a lot of. Well, does it sharpen you up, or does it make you a little bit? What was we were saying about France? Rattled. So yeah, we're going to have another turnover here, and it's going to give Spain, I think, one last chance just before half time, just to really sort of gear themselves into this.
And the thing is, it's now we are, as we get to the end of this day 4, final day tomorrow, we're looking to set it up. We want as many people watching the streams as possible. We want to try and get as many people down to this complex to come and watch, come and experience it tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a great day. I mean, not only knockouts on this pitch, knockouts on every pitch, on the pitches behind us as well.
Yeah,
there's going to be some very intense, high-quality touch rugby.
Yeah, 100%, and intensity is the key thing there. Intensity is absolutely the key thing. So all of these knockout games, the nice thing that happens as well is because everyone has slightly fewer games, a lot of the other members of their national squad will come out and cheer them on, support them, and so already you've got the makings of your crowd, you've got your pressure cooker, you've got your shouts from the sidelines, your fans in the bleachers, and it just changes things up so much. It just really gives those games an edge. So yeah, really, really different dynamic, different atmosphere, and I would absolutely say, come down. I think it's absolutely a sport that's best experienced from the sideline, which is where I'm likely to be experiencing it from. So yeah, definitely a really exciting day tomorrow. Really exciting.
Oh, there goes the hooter for the end of the first half, and Switzerland 2 ahead, and then they've just really managed the game since then.
They really have. They got their noses in front. They've not looked particularly ruffled after that. They've been really in control. And I believe, are we about to have an interview with the most handsome man in Bulgarian touch?
I do believe we are. I think we are going to hand back over to the studio. Ian, over to you.
Thank you, Jono. Yes, as you can see, I'm joined by Stefan from Bulgaria, and I'm delighted to have you here, Stefan, because it's Bulgaria's debut in the European Championships. How's it been going?
It's been going good. It's lovely to be here. Playing touch at the highest European level is awesome. Even though it's been quite hard, quite tough for us, it's good that we're here. We really like it.
Big hats off to your team as well. We saw one of your games yesterday. Unfortunately, one of your female players got injured, so you were down to 5 for the entire game. But nobody's heads dropped, did they? They stay going, they keep pushing, and it's a real congratulations to you.
Thank you. Yep, that's why everybody's here to enjoy the game. It's not about winning. It's not about even scoring a point is a big thing for us. So that's it. Get enough game time. Enjoy proper games, really good opponents, and then it's really good that we're here taking that experience and making it, coming back home, see where it is going to go.
Now, we were talking off air, weren't we? You've been playing rugby for 15 years, only touch for 3 years, but then you said, I absolutely love touch. What really got you into the game?
It's many things. I really like the sport, and it's the pace, the strength, the speed, everything, and it's the ability to play mixed teams. Lovely. Yeah. And then that's where we're focusing right now, developing both male and female players playing together, and then we'll see when we have first. Yeah, men only maybe is going to be first, so that's a huge thing for us. Get involved a bit more female players into the game, and then see.
Is that the target for, say, the next Euros then, to maybe have that full men's squad and maybe a mix too?
I guess we'll still be going for the mixed divisions for a few more years now.
Yeah.
We definitely saw that we need more female players. Coming with 5 girls is definitely hard, and maybe that's the goal for the next one. Attract a few more female players, make a good sync with the male players, and go and make. First of all, it's going to be score a bit more points. Then it's going to be play some more competitive games against higher.
It's a
better
time
teams.
thing, but having the experience of playing in these tournaments, you learn from the opposition too, don't you? And then you can take it back home. How popular is touch in Bulgaria? Is it a player pool problem that you just have?
Definitely, like touch is really young. We've started, we said 2019. The growth was affected by many different reasons, but getting more players into the sport will definitely help us grow, and this is a great reason for one of the many reasons why I work here. Expose that you can play the level, the game at the highest level. Hopefully, it's going to attract more people, and then those people that would bring even more people, and then getting a bigger pool of people to be representing the country. That's going to be.
So if you are watching this in Bulgaria right now, get in touch with this man and start playing the game of touch, because it is brilliant, isn't it, Stefan?
It is. It's an awesome game.
Right, I'm going to let you get back. I really appreciate you coming to join us, and it's a real pleasure to have Bulgaria here at the European Championships. I'm going to hand back to your commentators for the second half. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Ian. We are back here in the commentary box. We're awaiting the second half of this game. Switzerland 2-0 ahead, and it's fair to say, Robin, they've looked very comfortable in this game.
Yeah, Spain have really struggled to put them under threat. It might be that's because they're deciding to just go a little easy. It might be that they're eyeing up that England game and saying, well, let's give that 100%. Let's make sure we're in a position to do that. Or it might just be that Spain are very structured in their defence and not really giving Spain much to use. Either way, it's a pretty difficult one for Spain to get themselves into right now. Let's see what they've got for us next.
It's, Switzerland do have the tap off here. I wouldn't be surprised if they do a similar game plan to what they had in the first half. They might try and get a couple of scores early and then just manage the game.
Sorry, I was laughing because the Spanish player did the classic hands up, I've done nothing wrong, even as the ball was kicking around her feet. So that's being caught with the murder weapon and denying that you're on the crime scene, really. I think both sides will keep with the plan. I think Switzerland are playing touch in a bit more of a structured way. It's given them some advantages. Looking for phase here. Oh, it's zero touch.
Yeah, zero touch it is.
But it's an offside. So it'll be one of those where she was only there because she wasn't onside. I would like to see Spain try and use the width. There's some tired bodies out there. There are a couple of Swiss players who maybe are very good technical touch players, not quite as sort of quick on their feet as these Spanish players. Like, try that. Let's touch first. Let's see how they get on with that and give them that different challenge, because sometimes it's all very well to play touch as a structured game. Sometimes it's good to just find different challenges.
We've seen Spain on this pitch a couple of times so far in this tournament, and often been on commentary with Mal, and a player we both picked out is Elena Lopez Cañara, number 11 for Spain, who has played very well when we've seen. Everything seems to drive through her.
I'll keep an eye. I haven't seen them play at all yet, actually, so I'm really interested in this.
They play very much compared to what I've seen from Spain previously on here. They play very much within themselves. They're a bit more expansive here.
Oh, it's on!
It's on.
No, not quite. No, the door was open for just a second, then it was slammed shut. Number 5 showed some really good hands in the build-up as well. She got the ball, immediately got a defender, and then off she went.
And going back, the little behind pass, but I don't think Colette Labrador was just expecting that. And the interview's coming thick and fast now. We're going to head back over to the studio Over to you again, Ian.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the studio, and I'm delighted to say the only country I haven't spoken to yet have now joined me, Henrik from Germany.
Last but not least.
And we're in the midst of the president as well, not the president of Germany, of course, but the president of Touch in Germany. Henrik, how's it been going this week for you?
Oh, it's been terrific. I mean, just being out here and seeing all these teams and meeting all the friends that we've made over the years and playing good round of touch has been fun. You know, we've won a few, lost a few, but it's been a good experience so far.
And that's what it's about, isn't it? It is about that experience and taking it forward. You're the president of Touch Deutschland. How popular is it back home, the sport?
I mean, I'd say it's growing. You know, I'm not gonna lie. The COVID years have been tough for the sport. People are looking at other alternatives, and it's been hard to get people back into. But I'd say it's growing. It's definitely a growing sport. Such as is rugby, you know, rugby union, and I think that's what we're trying to latch onto a bit to grow the player base. And I think there's a bright future. I mean, we're still, you know, in the earlier stages, but I think we are growing the right way, and it's fun watching it.
We mentioned off air as well, where Germany's located geographically, it's a good place, isn't it? You said you played a couple of practice games against France. That really helps the preparation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's crucial to kind of get the shock out of the system early on, playing that high level. I mean, club touch in Germany is mostly mixed, so we rarely get our players exposed to the men's and the women's games separately. It's something that we are working on from an NTA point of view. But getting that done outside of the big tournaments and getting in that flow is really important, and we're glad that the French have been kicking up with us for a few times.
So Henrik, what's been the highlight for you this week?
All of it, to be honest. Just being here. I mean, from Steal the mascot, you know, all the way to just playing the English and you know, getting the time, getting the exposure, getting our boys here, and having that brotherhood in the team. And so far, no one's gotten hurt. I'm very happy with that. And you know, we
haven't seen too many injuries actually, have we? Nothing more than your pulled hamstring every now and again.
Excellent. I think it speaks to the preparation. I mean, it's the physical conditioning that goes in, and I think people have been training for the Euros last year, and now they carried through that campaign to this year, and I think it shows very, very fit teams out there. I look at the Irish and I'm like, you know, where do they breed these guys? It's crazy. But I'm happy to see it, and it's good fun to play it. Yeah.
Well, who knows where it's going to go, Henrik. But it's only going to get bigger, certainly under your leadership as well. Thank you so much for joining us. It's a real pleasure to have Germany over here for the European Championships. Best of luck, and we'll catch up with you again, no doubt. Let's hand back to your commentary team for the rest of this game.
Welcome back. Many thanks to Ian. Great job getting the interviews today. And also, I want to thank Ian. Great job on commentary earlier to give my voice a rest, because I'm going to need it tomorrow.
Getting the industrial supply of Lemsip on the go, are we?
Yes.
Same for the refs, actually. We've had Spain. She's danced all the way through. She's dived.
I think she's got it down. I think she
Yeah,
has
good
Spain
score
back in
from
it.
number 12.
Spain going all the way through. Ana Maria Hernandez puts the ball down, and here's the replay from behind. Ball goes down. Just a little layoff there, and she
just coming in on a short line
through and over the line.
Steps
Great
inside
try.
the link. Yeah, a bit lax defence by Switzerland. I think they've been fairly switched on up until now, and just switched off a little bit there. Forward pass from Switzerland in the build-up. So, a little bit of a lackadaisical defence. I think you saw we had a nice little close-up there from the camera in the end zone of the link's face, and I think she was a little bit mardy with herself about it. So,
Mardy, that's a good Nottingham word.
We've got, is it a night? So this is interesting. So I've been spending some time with, I'm not sure what her title is here, because there's a different event organiser type roles, but Erica, who, fantastic job from Chris Simon obviously running the event, and then Erica, Meg Bays, I'm committing myself to remembering Erica Robertson. It's in her email address that I've been sending stuff to every day. So Erica Robertson, Meg Bays and Aisling Musgrove all been doing a lot of the event coordination, event organising, and then a sort of huge team of volunteers as well behind them. Anyway, Erica's from the northeast, and my dad's friends and family come from the northeast, so occasionally I'll fall into those. So Switzerland now looking expansive. There's a big mid gap. They ran out of touches. I was going to say they sort of run out of steam, and it turns out it's because they ran out of touches. So the referees spend these 5 days screaming at players to get onside. We had a fine session this morning, and anyone who was so careless as to lose their voice got fined. How do you find it as a commentator?
I've commentated on ice hockey tournaments, so junior ice hockey tournaments, where over a weekend you are commentating on in excess of 30 games of ice hockey.
Oof.
So, in that respect, I've had a bit of training and got used to it. This is obviously I've been greatly helped out by having people like yourself, Jordan, Ben, Mal coming on co-commentary, and obviously that takes the load off because
you're making me feel guilty for asking you to give a long answer now.
Oh no, not at all. And I can say what is happening on the field, but they can give that, and people like yourself can give that real good insight of why it's happening. So I'm the sort of what, and you're the why, so that takes a huge load off. And I've often found, so the ice hockey ones I'm doing, I'm commentating solo. It's very rare that you get a co-commentator in. And
I think commentating solo must be so hard because you're talking to yourself as well.
Yeah.
We can go back and forth. So we've had 2 penalties on the line against Spain here. We had an offside, and then we had a hard touch. 3 penalties, and someone goes to the little sin bin area, so they'll be wanting to avoid that. Ethan McCarthy, the referee, watching it very closely, and a good touch.
Switzerland just going back. So yeah, but I've really enjoyed it this week. It's been great, and as you know, I very much enjoy commentating on the NTS series, the development and the elite. But I was really looking forward to this because I knew that this would be a step up because it's international. So I knew that it was going to be a step up in quality. There's longer games as well, and it's not disappointed at all.
It's a step up at the top level. It's a huge range. It's a huge range, isn't it? But yeah, some of these games, I think we also forget that even some of the nations that aren't thought of as the stronger touch nations, when they actually get all of their resources together, they're very strong. They have some real players in those teams. So, yeah.
I think what was nice from my point of view is seeing a lot of the players who I've seen in the elite and the development series. A great example are John Weston Stanley, Louis Treyers and Camille Shepardine from Galaxy, then coming in to play on the same England team. I'm really interested to see how the way they play together at Galaxy, is it going to be a similar way that they play together here for England?
Well, it's an interesting example that because John Weston Stanley
he's playing in a different pod to the other two, I think.
Oh no, he wasn't before. Is he now? I haven't seen him.
He was on the game I was watching. We've only seen actually England's men's open once on here. As Switzerland score again.
I'm so sorry. It looked to me like it was nice little sort of just run through the middle, and so she scooped and then she's given, and it's Irene Welty, who I did shout out earlier for never being backwards and coming forwards, and she's got herself over the line there.
So 3-1 Switzerland lead, and they restore their 2-2 advantage.
I think it's an interesting one actually, in a way that some countries, the bigger countries, almost have a structural disadvantage. These Swiss players, I think there's 2 or 3 big touch. Oh, it's good hands, and it doesn't quite come off. Spain generated the overlap, and the link just couldn't get the ball out to the wing for that final pass. I think she would have been in if she had. Switzerland, they have geezers, at least one other that I've got the name of, and maybe a third. So actually, a lot of these players might know each other a fair bit better. They might play together a fair bit more. It's something that we find with the junior competitions, is that sometimes actually, if a country's national team in the juniors is pretty much based around one city, they come into that tournament stronger than the England one, because the England one's sort of often taken from everywhere. Switzerland are through, really good hands, not quite got the pace down the line to finish.
Yeah, good touch coming back from Aniera Sanchez there.
Spain are really full of running. They are really keeping that pressure on, keeping that hammer down. So, you know, it's a 1-3 game. It's not by any means a done and dusted game, and they will keep that pressure going. And look, I know we've said, you know, from the start that this is a pretty much settled affair. There's not much to go either way. And sorry, I wanted to see it coming the other way. So there's not much riding on it. But equally, if you are Spain and you want to sort of really go at England, a little result like this flipping your way starts that little glimmer of confidence, that little glimmer of, maybe we can do this. So they'll be thinking about that. Switzerland coming into the midfield with real intensity there, really good, and then we just scooped little potential opportunity, but not quite. Hands away, and the winger stepped in to make the touch, but again we just couldn't get that last pass off.
Jono White was completely free on the right hand side there. I think if the ball had come to us, it was a quite straightforward trot in for another try.
I love nothing more than a straightforward trot in for a try. I think we always the old sort of 5 metre stroll. I always think the fun ones are, you know, when you get a really long ball, so the defence are banked all the way on one side of the pitch and it goes all the way the other way, and someone stands there and catching it with all the time in the world and just dots it down whenever they desire. So yeah, it's
none of this running and somersaulting over defenders.
None of that ridiculousness for me. Thank you very much. So yeah, it's been an interesting one for Spain to see that they have kept their effort up, and number 12 there slammed up in defence. So you know it's not dead to them this game. They are putting their backs into it now, I think. I think they were sort of slightly spurred on by that score. I know that they've since conceded against Switzerland, but I just feel like there's a little bit more intensity to this Spain team that wasn't there earlier. Good touch.
Touch as she went through. Goes back to the 7. Nicole Steiner there.
So to come back to it is a long ball, but it's not quite going to make it for that one. So coming back to the conversation earlier, I think it's interesting. And you mentioned John Weston Stanley, who last season was playing for a different club. He was playing for Thames Valley Vikings, who are based in Maidenhead, and moved to Galaxy. And second hand, I've been told, I believe partly or mostly, I think, to play with Louis Treyers, because they want that interplay. They want to make sure that they're in the best place for that England team. So it is great, isn't it? We have these massive club rivalries, and then you get these players in the shirt of England, and it all kind of comes together a little bit. And a really host of new faces in some of these teams as well. Probably most of these teams, because we've had these 4 years off. In some countries, touch has pretty much shut down. England were lucky enough, so we had the Autumn International Series. It's very strange, actually. There was a competition in Elche run by Spain, and I believe it's the Spanish women's coach. He's down there in the box. I want to say Victor Garcia, who was part of running that. That was all the way back in 2019. In the winter, and then obviously little did we know that would be the last touch a lot of us was getting for a while, and a lot of the players who went to that are now playing here because it was designed as a development tournament. So it was either minnow nations, it was the ones who aren't a sort of super established touch team. I think was there a Switzerland team? I think there might have been. There certainly was a Spain women's team, or it was a sort of B team for some of the larger countries. So Ireland sent some of their guys. England sent a B team in men's and women's, a Lions team, and some other places did that. And it's really interesting because those faces are coming through. And you know, we had the makings of the Irish women's team, which is now at this tournament. So in 2018, there was only an Irish women's 27s, and this year there's an Irish women's Open that was starting to be formed at that tournament back in Elche in 2019 in Spain. And I think it's really a sort of good element for the growth of the game. There's been, I think, 3 tournaments in Iberia at the start of the year. I want to say 1 in Portugal and 2 in Spain that was sort of reasonably well supported. There was 2 club tournaments and 1 age group national tournament, and that had players out, had live streaming, had all that kind of stuff going on, and hopefully is a little kick on for these teams, a little way for them to get a bit of a sort of local touch at a level that they wouldn't normally see, that they can kind of be spurred on by.
Yeah, it's great, and it's great to see all the different countries here. Obviously, Bulgaria coming into the mixed open, their first appearance.
Bulgaria are everyone's favourite second team, I think. I've refed them twice, and they're a really nice bunch.
They're raw, as you would expect.
I think they're raw and becoming less raw in terms of experience and more raw in terms of physical well-being, I think, as the tournament goes on. Yesterday was middle point of the tournament, and I think they only had 3 fit female players, so it would have been hard yards for them. But what an experience! Yeah, I think there's a novel in there somewhere about the Bulgaria team turning up to the European Touch Championships and sort of the little cobbled together group they had. And there is for everyone. I think it's so great. You think this Spain team, the majority of them, I'd love to know whether they've even picked up touch. There's a few clubs, so I know Jen Lee, one of the referees, also plays. She's sitting down there. She plays in Valencia, I think. There's some touch in Elche, there's some touch in some other places, but to get to a point where there's 16 of you in an age group team to get on a plane together and come and play is fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's worth pointing out this is all self-funded as well. There's no.
Yeah.
It's all amateur. There's no.
There's
no massive sponsor or anything like that. It's all pretty much out of their own pocket.
No, very much so. There's very little money that comes in that isn't from the players themselves, and the organisers are very mindful of that to make sure that everyone's sort of costs are managed as much as possible and as best experience as possible is delivered. But it's so relevant for the players when they make their plans to come to these kind of things, because you just can't. You don't put your life on hold and spend all that money not to give it your all. And giving it their all right now is Switzerland. They're driving really hard up to the line. Just run out of puff just a little on that last touch, but going to have a penalty against them, I think, for a touch and pass.
3-1 Switzerland lead. We're 2 minutes away from the final hooter, and I think that they've both teams have really taken the options to take it a bit easy and save themselves for tomorrow, which is perfectly understandable.
Very understandable. I think it's. I think they'll both come away from this pretty happy. From Spain, they've really shown some pace and intensity, and they did it again there. They almost had an overlap actually out on that wing. They did it again there. They really showed a bit of pace and intensity and showed what they're about. And for Switzerland, I think they'll have run through their playbook a bit. I think they'll have made sure they didn't take too much out of their muscles, and they'll be set up nicely for tomorrow as well. And that's the crunch game for me. I think take nothing away from Spain. I think they've got some ingredients that could be a bit of a surprise for England women's 27s, but really we should be, you should be expecting the 27s to finish that one off fairly comfortably. Whereas Switzerland, a bit of a tougher test in a really interesting game.
Yeah. Spain have the ball back. We're into the final minutes, so maybe a chance of a final drive if they can get it to within one at the final whistle. I'm sure they'll be delighted with that.
Yeah, I really want to see them just throw it around a bit. I really want to see them back their speed a bit more. I think they're running a sub play. They've got this fresh pod on, and with the last 30 seconds, let's see what these folks can do. 12 nearly dancing through, but going over the mark there. The over the mark is much more about timing than positioning. It's much more about the fact that you didn't anticipate and didn't sort of prepare yourself to roll the ball than it is about any kind of structure or gaining an advantage by being a metre forward, and that was definitely what happened there.
I suppose that's a slight difference as the hooter goes from rugby league. Rugby league, they have to physically roll the ball back, whereas here in touch, it's straight down and pick up.
Yeah, the main difference, and I think it's telling here. So the Spanish players, I believe, a lot more of them come from a rugby background than the Switzerland players. If you play contact rugby, I don't know, have you ever played any kind of rugby of...
Not since I was at school,
well.
a very long time ago.
So they always talk about aim through the contact, because you want to hopefully break tackles or at least push teams back. And at touch, you need to aim at the contact, because you gain nothing by ramming through, you just go over the mark. And I think that was something that Spain struggled with a couple of times.
So, penultimate game of the day is over. Both these teams heading to the semi-finals tomorrow. We will see Switzerland again tomorrow in their semi-final against Scotland. Robin, thank you so much for coming to join me once again. It really is appreciated. Thank
Always
you.
a pleasure.
We have one game left today, and that is the men's 45 clash. We've seen Portugal once again. They are taking on Wales. Do stay around for that one.
Men's 45.
welcome back to the Highfields Sports Complex here at the University of Nottingham. It's the final game of the day, and it is the men's 45s, Portugal in the green taking on Wales in the dark grey. I'm delighted to say Ben Meakin joins me on commentary for this final game.
Good evening, Jono.
Good evening. So, last game before tomorrow.
Finals footy tomorrow.
Super Saturday, I think we're calling it,
Yeah,
aren't we?
absolutely. It should be a great day tomorrow. I'm very excited for tomorrow to start.
And this game is the last one to finish. And men's 45s. Portugal, third time we've seen them on this pitch today.
They've been very lucky, haven't they, to be on field 3 times in a day. Very lucky, so they should know the way around this pitch.
Certainly should. We'll call it a home pitch for them,
Yeah,
today.
I think it is really. It's more than anyone else has been on this pitch today.
And but
ball
it's
down
not
touch
the
one.
start that they wanted.
Not at all.
So Wales have the ball. Portugal can't take advantage of the tap off, and they are driving towards the 7-metre line, just calming it down a little bit as it slows up, but we're going to look to strike here. Diving over is Jefferson Cruz, and I think voted favourite name of a player by Malday earlier this week.
It is a good name, isn't it? Jefferson Cruz.
And Portugal have the ball back. They're starting very deep. Just starting to come up again.
This drive's better than how they started, so they'll be happy with that.
There's just a little bit of confusion as they head to the sub box, and the pass isn't completed. I think there's going to be some tired legs out there for sure, because Portugal, you can see they've I think they've only got 5.
They've got 6 in the sub.
6 in the sub box, but it doesn't look to me like Joe Neto, number 7, is actually playing. He's got a heavy strapping on his thigh and knee as he goes and grabs some water. And I'm not so sure he's actually maybe taking part. We'll keep an eye on that and see if he is. But if he is, that's one full chance they've got.
And that is the first score of the last game of the day.
And it is Wales who take the lead here.
And that's number 8, Paul North. He runs a quickie on the outside. He's the one that dumps the ball, gets the ball back, and he takes on his defending middle and throws the ball to the far Welsh winger.
Alan Phillips it was who put the ball down. So Wales 1-0 ahead after 2 minutes. Good start for them.
I've got some affiliation here, Jono.
Yep.
Yeah, a few of the Welsh players I used to play at Nottingham Touch. Number 10, Nick Carroll. Number 13, Alex Carroll. Played for Nottingham over the years, and I used to play there, and I've known them for a good 10-12 years, and they're very, very good players. And they're 3 brothers. I've not played with Chris, and then Nick's wife is one of the managers for the 40s, and then their son Owen is plays in the mixed open team. So it's a family affair here for the Carrolls.
Yes, very, very much like the Simons of Nottingham.
Yes, and my family, part of my family, the Hobsons.
Yes, we
There's a
saw
fair few
your
of them.
father-in-law earlier,
Yeah,
didn't we?
sister-in-law plays for women mixed open, should I say? Brother should have played men's open. Brother-in-law, sorry, should have been playing men's open, but he got injured. So there's a fair few families around, and that's something that we love about Touch. The Carrolls haven't actually been on yet, so we'll see if they're trying to save their legs for tomorrow.
Yeah, let's see if we can just look at what the situation is in the men's 45s. England 9 from 9, so I think they are very comfortably in the semi-finals there. Wales 6 from 9 and 3 losses. Scotland are in 4th place. They're 5 wins, 4 losses, and France in 4th, 4 wins and 5 losses. The final round of games is going on now. The only thing to really sort out is if Switzerland can pip France to that last semi-final place. And they are currently playing at the moment. We've got England taking on France and Scotland taking on Switzerland. So interesting to see what would happen there. As regards Wales against Portugal, they did play each other on Tuesday on this very field. Wales coming away with an 11-4 victory, but you have to wonder, maybe Wales keeping something in the tank for tomorrow, do you think?
Potentially, yes. I mean, I've not watched them play too much. I know Alex Carroll's now on the pitch. He's actually got the ball right now. He's got a bit of strapping on his left knee. I can see over in the Welsh sub box that Nick Carroll's not playing this game, so I'm a bit gutted about that, because I've known Nick a fair long time and it would have been good to commentate on that one, but I'm saying they're holding him back. I'm saying he's a key player in that team and they're going to hold him back in this game. He's walking around with no shoes on. I've never seen him with shoes on before, apart from touch footy boots, so he's walking around in there, probably doing a bit of coaching as Portugal come up the pitch, but referees called an over the mark, so Wales will look to get number 2 on the board here.
Yeah, as Portugal retreat back, Wales will look to go 2 ahead, and let's set up tomorrow, because
yes, that's what we need to do.
It's going to be awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, if you played in a 4 or 5 day tournament, you know, the first 4 days, especially when you've got semi-finals like we do, where your top 4 are making those semi-finals, as long as you cement your place into those top 4 finals day, means anything can change. As Wales just set up a quickie here on the outside. If they go in hole 1, does he make the touch? He does. Yeah, if you make that top 4 semi-finals, it's going to be so much fun. You're going to wake up tomorrow. Today's a tough day to wake up for. You're sore. You know, you don't really want to be warming up and cooling down as many times as you do. But
touch claimed.
Touch claim. Alex Carroll shouting, "Is he onside?"
Yes,
no, he wasn't, but the referee hasn't given the score. He's allowed a new set of 6. Yeah, on the 4th day you don't want to be warming up, but tomorrow you'll be waking up, you'll be buzzing, you'll be very excited for the day, and you know there's nothing better than being in that semi-final and then final and then winning. Yeah, I think Jordan said before, if you go back to the changing room with your mates that are winning and have a beer, it's one of the best feelings. If not, it's one of the best feelings I've ever had, and you know they'll all be looking to do that. As Wales just set that up, the opportunity was there, couldn't go to hands.
So close, going out over onto the right wing, but just a little too high. So we're 7.5 minutes in, Wales with that slender 1-0 lead. But it's something we saw earlier, that Portugal were defending quite well, keeping the team out, but they were sort of struggling to get any real attacking attack going.
It's just they go forward, you know, they can drive, they can go forward, but it's what they do on touch 4 and 5 to just manipulate space to get that 5th touch. We just saw there number 13, João Neto, was just couldn't get the right dunk to.
Oh, was he through?
No, I don't think he was. The referee's running back to, I think it was a touch and pass.
Yeah, so Wales have the ball. So, just looking ahead to tomorrow again, what are you expecting from tomorrow? I mean,
some great spectacles and some really close games. We've not seen a drop-off yet. I don't believe you had a drop-off in the quarter-final.
We didn't, and I think for anybody who's watching now who was watching that game, the Belgium-Switzerland, which was an absolute great game. You saw another level of intensity because it was knockout. Because a place in the semi-final at stake. It was just so intense all the way through.
Yeah.
It was so close all the way through. And I think pretty much every knockout game tomorrow, you should see that level of intensity.
Yeah, the intensity is going to go up. Everyone wants to win. Everyone says they want to enjoy themselves, but they want to win. Of course they do. So that intensity is going to go up. So you're going to see some really tight matches. You're going to see, you might see a bit more argy-bargy at times. You might see someone trying to, just get a bit of niggle to make sure that they win. But then those games might mean a bit more, and that they become more intense. So yeah, I think tomorrow is going to be a great day, and the spectacles that you're going to see are going to be great. I'm really hoping that we'll get some good games on this on field one that we can commentate on, and I really hope we get a couple of drop-offs, because that means there's been a draw, and
essentially overtime, and then sudden death overtime if it's still not sorted out after 2 minutes.
Exactly. So I think you'll see quite a few of those, especially in the semi-finals. I don't think if I'm picking my teams, I don't think you'll see many in the finals. But again, anything can happen. It's finals footy. Anything happens. So it's going to be it's really going to be a good day, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Just so anyone who's wondering what a drop-off means, drop-off is essentially extra time. It's like overtime. There's a 2-minute period first, and teams play 4-on-4. So 2 players from each team have to leave the field. So they have 2 minutes, 4-on-4, running clock. If the scores are still level after that 2-minute period, another player from each team comes off, and then it becomes sudden death. The next score wins.
Yeah, absolutely. So every team will have worked on this situation in their training camps, because they know if they get to a semi-final, they'll need to know who their top 4 is to go on in both defence and attack. They'll then know what move to run, because obviously certain moves manipulate 4 instead of 6, and especially with 3 as well. So yeah, they're great. They're great little finishers to a game.
And also with those situations 4-on-4, it creates so much space out on the field, and it really is of a benefit to your more quicker players.
Absolutely, and that's why I don't play very many drop-offs. The last 2 I did, I lost. There's so much space on that field that you need your quickest players to try and run round. You need your best passers, so maybe that's why I do play. But I would say I've lost 2, so maybe I'm not anymore. They're just so much fun to play in. They're hard work because there's so much space to exploit. It's essentially like sevens when you're playing with 4-on-4.
And they will be hard games. I mean, the thing is, if you played a really hard game, an intense semi-final or final, and then you've got an extra probably 3 minutes at most to try and win a place in the final or the final itself. You not only have you got to be at your very, very best playing wise, but you've got to be mentally switched on as well.
Absolutely. Like I think we said it when England Men's Open played Ireland Men's Open. These games will not be won by their physical attributes. Yes, they're gonna help, but if they're smart and they're calm under pressure, and we say hot in the body and be cool in the mind, then they'll be the teams that win. And I think that's what people will be saying. Go relax, make sure that you do your process, and your outcome will come out the back of that.
And schedule tomorrow, we will be starting off with a men's open round robin, Belgium against Scotland, which will be the final round of round robin. So the men's open still not sorted out from a round robin point of view. They've still got to play another round first thing tomorrow morning, and then another 2 matches potentially if you want to win the title.
Yeah. I think looking at that division, that the semi-finals are actually already sorted. As long as everyone wins their games in the final pool match tomorrow. But that one's about making sure you get through it, you get your legs moving, making sure you get no injuries, and you just execute your game plan.
That was a great touch in the corner by Portugal's try saving.
Still only 1-0. We're 14 minutes in. I think I would have expected a few more scores from Wales, but I think they are trying to just tick over really and make sure that they're good for tomorrow. Like I've just said about the men's open, these guys need to make sure that they're fresh for tomorrow. So I think that's something that they're trying to do.
Yeah, and Portugal just trying to mount an attack. Wales defence holding strong, but they're coming forward at speed. Oh, it's just an unfortunate handle, and Wales will have the ball back.
Yeah, Portugal just attacking their short side at the moment, where I think if they went open side a bit more, they'd definitely get a few more scores, but they're going short side. It's not working. Let's see if they can look to step back and exploit the space that Wales are giving them. You can tell Wales are really trying to just get through this game, because they've just taken 3 touches on their own line. They're not even at halfway. They are almost walking, and then they start to pick up on touch 4 and 5.
Yeah, they just playing very much within themselves, I think.
That's definitely the phrase. You can tell it's the last day before finals, can't you?
Yeah. I think we saw that in the last game as well, as Spain and Switzerland in the women's 27s, but both were already confirmed in the semi-final. So I think it was a case of they just wanted to get through the game without any injury, so they can go into tomorrow in the best shape possible. And you can't blame them for that either, can you?
No, absolutely not. The only downside that might come of that is that they go into the first game tomorrow thinking the same thing. Slight hint of a forward pass. No one's seen it. No worries. They're gonna just carry on. Yeah, you might go into the tomorrow morning with a slight hint of that same relaxed game nature. That Portugal got a 3-on-2. Can they exploit it? Can he get it away? Oh, unlucky.
Just a shame.
Yeah, so I think as long as they switch on tomorrow morning, then they'll be okay. But let's hope that none of this kind of relaxed touch comes into tomorrow.
No, we'll find out. I mean, the schedule we've got on here, we've got men's open. Then we have the final round of the men's 50s with first and second, so that's England against Singapore. And then we have 8 games. We have the women's 27 semi-final, the mixed open semi-final, women's open semi-final, men's open semi-final, and then we'll have the finals of all them competitions as well as the final 4 games. So it really is going to be a packed day tomorrow, as everything is sorted out here at Highfields.
Yeah, I'm genuinely excited. It should be a great day. I'm really excited. I know once we get to those last 3 finals, you'll hopefully see it on the video tomorrow that this field will be packed. You know, we've got a few stands, but I think there'll be loads and loads of people standing behind each try line and sitting behind each try line, as they will be, let's say, well lubricated after having a few beers after 5 days of touch.
Yeah, the beer tent has opened today, yes, hasn't it?
It has, and I've already seen a fair few mums and dads that have come down to support their kids and having a beer already today. In that last game I was watching on pitch 2 between France and Wales Women's Open. So yeah, I think if the crowds are anything to go by from today, that they'll be even bigger tomorrow.
It certainly will. And we encourage anyone who's watching, if you're in the area, can get down to Nottingham. It's free entry. You don't have to pay a penny to get in here. And if you want to see what it's all about, what you're actually watching on YouTube at the moment, get down here and come and see it live.
Absolutely, it's even quicker on live. As number 5 here goes through, Nick Wythe goes through,
and Wales have their second. Nice dummy by Nick Wythe there, and he just sprints through, and Wales double their advantage as we come to the closing embers of this first half. We'll see it from behind here. Yeah, just dummies the pass and sprints through. No one around him. An easy job to put the ball down and give Wales another score.
Yeah, and it's probably on reflection. I know it's a very chilled out game, and I think Wales are very much trying to look after their bodies, but I think that's definitely the right result so far.
I mean, Portugal have had a couple of looks at the Wales line. Certainly not been sitting back, but have they got one there, or was the touch in? I think the touch has been called.
And that was when I watched Portugal earlier today. That was exactly the same play that they scored off twice. It was João Neto that would hit a 33 short line, and he would go at the line and step back, and then I think he dived for one, and then he passed for one as well. So they've been practicing that move. They've scored quite a few off it. They tried it again, but fortunately I think it was probably called a forward pass, because Wales have been given a penalty in the new set of 6.
They have indeed. And Wales have the ball again. We're well into the final minute of this game. This half. And Wales looking comfortable at 2-0. They're not really having to exert themselves too much. Portugal trying hard as always. But I think Wales with an eye on tomorrow, almost certainly.
Yeah, I think so. They've I don't think they've done much there in terms of exerting energy. 2-0, and I don't think actually the scoreline really matters in where they come. So I think they'll be happy with that.
Well, let's have a look at some of these other competitions, and we'll look at men's, women's, mixed and 27, because they're the ones we're going to be seeing on this field tomorrow. As regards the men's open, France have completed their games. They're on 32 points, but all the other 6 teams in that group are playing now, I think.
No, they play first thing tomorrow morning.
Sorry, of course, plays first thing tomorrow. So England against Ireland, that's on field 2. That's going to be a cracker, because I think that will pretty much decide who finishes top.
Yeah, sorry, I was wrong in what I was saying. If England beat Ireland tomorrow, they go top. That means France will go second,
and Ireland will still be third. I think Scotland can't catch them.
No, so it's a big game, because
it's going to decide how the semi-finals are going to play out. England win that game, you're looking at France-Ireland semi-final, which will be on this pitch.
Yes, it will be,
and it'll be
very good, very good. Ireland and France played earlier. France lost to Ireland. Ireland were very comfortable in that game. I think they beat French quite comfortably after
11-4 in the end.
Yeah, and I think that's the same. Obviously, England played France first thing this morning, so after their great start games, days 1 and 2, they've had a struggle today.
Yeah, they've lost about 2 games and they lost them both today.
But again, like I said to you, Jono, that these 3-4 days actually don't mean too much until you start playing semi-finals touch tomorrow. So I think they're going to try and turn it back up tomorrow in their semi-final game. And the fact that they've only got 2 games tomorrow and everyone else has got 3, that could play a big difference.
Certainly could. Just talking about Ireland as well. If Ireland can get that win against England, they'll finish top on points difference over Ireland, because they will go and they will have the same points as Ireland, but they will have a better points difference. So
it's going to be all to play for in that first game then tomorrow, isn't it?
Certainly is. We will have on this pitch, I think it's Belgium against Scotland. Scotland already through to the semi-finals, so it'd be interesting to see how Scotland approach that game. Do they go for it to try and gain momentum for their semi-final against whoever finishes top, or do they just play within themselves to conserve some energy?
If I was the coach, and I know the coaches, if I was the coach, I would look to try and just complete the process. I wouldn't look to, run at 100%. I would look, we know Belgium are at the bottom of the table. I would just look complete processes to make sure that you do everything you're going to do in the semi-final, you do against Belgium, but you do it at 60%. So you get it a 100% completion rate, and that's what they'll be looking for in that first game.
Yeah, so that will be on here on the stream tomorrow. So quick look at the Women's Open. We just had the games finished in the last, so that's table is not updated as such, but England were 9 from 9, so they will play whoever finishes 4th which is between Wales and Scotland, depending on the results.
Wales have just beat France, so I mean, we're trying to do the maths on the run here, so apologies, but I think Wales might just go above Scotland in this. It depends who Scotland.
Scotland and Ireland was the other game. So
okay, so it depends on the result of that one, really.
Yeah. So if Scotland have won that, they will have leapfrogged France into second place, and Wales will also, I think, may have leapfrogged, but I think Wales may have finished staying fourth. Oh, it's a lot to work out.
Yeah, there's a lot of maths going on here in our heads, and we haven't got our calculators. But we know England will be top, and then we'll have to figure out the second and third. But that's and fourth, second and third tomorrow, it will be a good game. If it's that French-Wales game again that I've just watched, it was a very, very good game. I think Wales only won by 1, and actually there was a bit of a scuffle. A bit of a scuffle at the end of the game as well. So that gives a bit of niggle into that semi-final if it is those two teams.
As far as the mixed open's concerned, the semi-finals are locked in this one. It will be England against France and Wales against Scotland. Wales against Scotland will be on this pitch. So
those two good games. I would back England to beat France. Although everyone has said that is the hardest semi-final, because Wales would rather play Scotland, from what I've heard, instead of France. So it's going to be two good games. We've got the Wales-Scotland on field 1, and then that final will be a cracker, the England versus Wales on field. Oh, we've got a score from Wales here on the far side. Yeah, we have.
Top down it is.
Yeah, so that's 3-0, just a simple 3-on-2 pass, and Wales have gone 3-0 up. So England mix versus Wales mix we had on here, where I think it was 12-11 to England mixed open, was an absolute cracker. England went up by 3 or 4, and Wales came back. So if that's the final we get again, then that we're in for a special treat there.
And then finally we've got the women's 27s. England will be taking on Spain in the semi-final. Scotland against Switzerland, which will be the one on this pitch as well. And of course we've just seen Switzerland beat Spain 3-1. That has not updated.
Who did England draw with there, Jono, in that 27s division? Can we find that out?
Yes, we certainly can. It was a 6-all draw with Scotland.
Interesting. Okay, I thought they'd won all their games. So again, not every you would normally back England 27 side, but as Nicky Bird said to me earlier, apologies, that they've got 7 new debutants in that team that have not played at this level before, so that might have an impact tomorrow, and the mentality that they've got.
So I've got plenty of working to do when I get home, and some team sheets to update ready for tomorrow.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be one of those we're going to do it on the fly as well as the finals come in and the semi-finals.
Yeah, certainly have. There's still issues to be sorted in that men's open. So the England-Ireland game on field 2 is going to be huge first thing tomorrow morning.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
We've got Wales again, who are in possession, and it is very much walking pace.
It's a go slow touch. It really is. The sun is setting, and so are the Welsh legs.
Well, if you put a bit of speed on here, out to the wing, and that is 4-0. Great try.
Yeah, it is, and we've said that Wales are slowing it up, but as soon as they need to put that speed on, they get on the outside with this traditional split outwards quickie dump, get on the outside, and it's just going through the hands. It's the 3-on-2, 2-2-on-1s, and they score on the far wing. Wales is sub-box side.
Daryl Williams popping the ball down there. And as the pitch is bathed in sunshine again, shadows getting a bit longer. 6:30 in the evening here, local time. Portugal just playing a bit of keep ball at the moment.
Just a forward pass there from Portugal. I think Portugal are at that point of the day as well.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they've had 3 games today.
You've seen them all.
Yeah, men's 45s. They've only got a squad of 12. They're going to be tired.
They are going to be so tired. Wales have got a squad of 16, so they've got 2 more in the sub box for the game, the actual match day, and then they've got 2 resting each game as well. So, yeah, it's a big difference.
Long pass, well taken. Comes back into the middle. Goes over to the left-hand side. Pass isn't completed, so Portugal will have the ball again. 4-0 Wales lead, 15 minutes to go.
Breeze has just picked up here, hasn't it? If you can see
really
the flags
has.
there. You can see the flag in your background there. It's really starting to pick up, and it's still cold on this gantry, isn't it? Today it's been like it all day.
Yeah, now the gantry is a little bit of sun. Then sun sort of come over to this side and dipped a little bit. We are getting a little sun, so I am probably the warmest I've been all day stood here.
I'm still in my winter coat.
I'll certainly be bringing a thicker jumper tomorrow, I know that much.
I was just about to check the weather for tomorrow.
I think it is going to be slightly warmer. It's forecast to be dry and sunny.
Yeah.
I think up to about 23 degrees,
Yeah,
I believe.
something like that. Hopefully that's great weather for finals day, and I'm sure that'll make sure that everyone's still out watching the finals by the end. By the time it's in 24 hours time, essentially it's 6 o'clock. This is the final, I believe.
I can imagine the beer tent will do very brisk business tomorrow.
Pardon?
I imagine the beer tent will do very brisk business tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Especially in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So, I think we've got to pay credit to the organisers here. There's some great catering here, some really good concessions bought in, coffee, smoothies, some lovely barbecue as well.
Yeah, there is. Oh, we've got a bit of a belly flop again. Yes, no, it's been a great setup here. England Touch have done a great job of hosting the second European Championships here at Highfields. I would say it's definitely better than 2018 in terms of facilities, and this time they've allowed a beer tent as well, so that must add to the experience.
Yeah, he certainly will. I mentioned a few times on country. Unfortunately, I live in the city. The tram that goes straight past actually does go to the town I live in Nottingham. Unfortunately, there's works going on the track, so I would have to get a replacement bus service at this point, which would make my usual 25-minute journey from home in the car an hour and a half journey on the tram. So unfortunately, that has not been an option this week.
No, not for me. Well, I had one night where I'm in the accommodation halls here, so it's quite lucky if the fields are on one side of the road and the university's on the other side. So it's a great place to stay touch for a European Touch Championship.
Nice stroll across the road in the morning,
especially when the weather's like this.
Yeah. So it's Wales who have the ball. We've got 12 minutes left, and it's not being played at breakneck speed, which you can perfectly understand. Wales got to keep something in the tank for tomorrow. Portugal will have games as well for positional playoffs, and Wales pulling off a great move, and Andrew Harrison puts the ball down, and that is 5-0 the Welsh lead.
Yeah, so Wales have done the same thing, but on the right side. He wanted his number being called. That was number 2, Andrew Harrison. You did say that, didn't you, John? Sorry, I did see him turn round, so maybe he just wanted his number being shouted out again. So I've given him that. Wales did the same thing they did on the left side to the right side. They've just they've split outwards on a quickie play, and then they've just thrown the ball on a 3-on-2 miss pass to the winger.
So Portugal little bit of speed in the Portuguese legs now as they look to get something on the board in this game. They'll not want to be shut out in their final round robin game. They come out to this left hand side. Oh, nice pass, but the touch is made. Telegraphed well again by Andrew Harrison, because it was a nice little pass behind the back there.
It was a good disguise, but Andrew Harrison managed to figure it out and make the touch on both players.
Portugal still have it though. Oh, it's an interception, Bog. Harrison, I think he was about to put the burners on and run the entire length of the pitch.
Everyone in the Welsh box said, no, don't, stay there, just relax, look after those calves and legs for tomorrow. I think the referees are at that point as well. If you can see them just strolling down the sideline, ensuring that they get their recovery as well. They're on and off very quickly to ensure that they're not doing too much work either.
Yeah, and of course, knockouts, so they're going to have to be absolutely at their best tomorrow.
Absolutely.
It's not just the teams, is it?
No.
And we sometimes forget about the officials on the pitch. It's like Mel was saying, they're running probably 4 to 5 kilometres a game, and without them there isn't a game. And
no, absolutely not. And they've got to look after their bodies. I know they've had a few injuries this week. I think Robin Budd was on here a couple of games ago, and
that's why Robin Budd was
well, yes, he's trying to take his anger out on the mic by coming up with some lyrics. Unfortunately, his calves let him down, and he was going, have I done this, have I done that? Sometimes injuries just happen. You can't always put your finger on it. So yeah, the referees need to look after themselves again.
Yeah, so Robin and Mel substituted each other.
Mel did a better job than what Robin would have done anyway.
And Wales again just taking their time. Nine minutes remaining.
Can't come quick enough for Wales, can it?
No, they do. You can tell they're just going through the motions of it.
On the outside. Apologies, Jono.
So yeah, as you say, they're going through the motions a little bit, aren't they? And they're just preserving their bodies as much as they can. You know, they've had a busy day, probably 3 matches as well. Probably visualising getting in the ice bath when they get back over to the university.
Yes, absolutely. I think the recovery is going to be key. You know, they want to win that gold medal tomorrow, so they've got to do everything that they can to get there.
It's Portugal having the ball, and they get to halfway. Again, still looking to get something from this game, even if it's just the one score.
How about you, John? Are you ready for tomorrow? How's the voice after how many games have you done in the last 4 days?
Oh, now you're asking me. I've actually done the least amount of games today than I think. I did 9 yesterday. I've done 9 today.
So you did 10,
so that's
10,
8.
9,
I did 11 on Tuesday. So that's 29.
29, sorry.
29 and 10 on Wednesday. So 39 so far.
We've got 10 tomorrow. Are you doing them all?
I think I'm definitely doing 9. I may be doing 10, but we'll see.
There's longer gaps as well.
Yeah.
But no, doing a fantastic job. Gargle that honey and lemon tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I'll be going down to chug a jar of honey.
I know Jordan Melling's struggling. His hoarse voice is being around. You can hear him coughing and spluttering.
But the ladies are loving it.
They absolutely are. I feel like tomorrow we need to get a camera in the commentary box, because I feel like we're going to go mad at times as well. Maybe we can work on that actually.
We'll see what we can
especially
do.
For the finals.
It'd be I don't know. Do they want to see us jumping,
They do,
jumping
they
around with
do.
headphones on? I am really looking forward to calling them games tomorrow, especially the 4 finals.
Yeah, they're going to be great. They are.
And there'd probably be a surprise or two. There normally is in tournaments like this.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's going to be, it's going to be a great day, and I think we've got the women's 27s final and the 3 Opens finals, haven't we?
Yes.
I'm going to call
and semi-finals for all them
and the
as well.
semi-final. If I was going to call one of those finals to be a surprise, I would say, I put myself under pressure for no reason here. I'm going to say, and I don't think it'd be a surprise, but I think England maybe in the mix. I would say that's probably the closest division. I think England Men's Open have now come out and put on, built through their tournament, and I think they will be firing on all cylinders tomorrow.
They've worked to a peak at the right time.
I believe they have, yeah. So,
although that game against Ireland is a potential banana skin, because as we can see from this game here, it's a prime example. Both teams taking it easy. Neither England or Ireland can take it easy in that game because of what's at stake and who they may play in the semi-final.
No, exactly. So it's going to be interesting, but like I say, the closest final I can see currently is definitely that mixed open final. If it is England versus Wales, as we suspect it will be, it's going to be a cracker, and it's one to watch. The females in both teams are just so they're built just to be as good as the males. They do so well, and they don't let the males score on them and everything. Oh, Wales are through here.
Oh, it's Andrew Harrison again. Oh no, he dummied it, and he goes the length of the field and puts the ball down. Andrew Harrison makes it 6-0 to Wales. Here's the replay. Watch it. Just watch it here, as he
just does
it just falls. The Portuguese number 8, incredible stuff. So 3.5 minutes left in the game. I mean, I don't think you can rule Scotland out of the mixed open, because they've won the last 4 European Championships. Scotland.
They have changed their team quite a lot, though.
I know we've said that throughout the week, but you never know, do you? In that sort of knockout.
Oh, Portugal have got one here. Sorry to interrupt you there. They've just got on the outside, and actually they've got a score. They'll be happy with that to finish their day.
Yeah,
3 minutes to go, and they'll be
glad that they've got one down. They've not been shut out. They've got one over the line.
Makes it worth it.
Yeah. Bursting through, Sergio Goncalves. He's I think he scored earlier today as well on here, and he scored again now. And it's nice to see them all congratulating him in the sub box below us.
They'll enjoy their beer tonight.
They certainly will. It's tomorrow is really set up to be the great conclusion that this tournament deserves.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be great, and I think you'll all enjoy watching it. I think it's going to be a bit quicker than what we're watching right now, but we all know the reason for that.
Yeah, we do indeed. And I think if I put myself in their position, I'd be doing exactly the same.
I feel like we are, Jono. Feel like we are.
Yeah, we're just resting the voices as much as we can, because we're going to need them tomorrow. I think we're going to go with 3 commentators for the finals,
semi-finals and finals, or maybe
finals.
just the finals. But yes, we've got some good ideas for tomorrow. Try and preview each team as well, so you'll get to see what they're thinking between.
As Andrew Harrison has the ball again.
Steps out.
And then he's got to give it back over to Portugal. We're racing towards the final minute. So
You know how we're saying that Wales are just going go slow? Andrew Harris has got something to play for here. I don't know what it is, but he's the only one that every single time he gets the ball, he is looking to hop, step and jump his way through. So I don't know what he's playing for. He's definitely got something, and he was frustrated that he got told he was stood out then. Whereas I think everyone else would have been, yep, that's fine, we'll just carry on.
I wonder if because he's got two. I wonder if it's because he's on a hat trick. He maybe wants
going for the top try scorer in the tournament. He is a winger, and that's where a lot of scores are scored. So he might be going for that.
30 seconds left, and Ben goes into the website.
I'm going digging for how many scores he's got.
He's got 13.
He's got 13.
I don't know how up to date that is. He's the top try scorer in the team.
They do get updated. Let's have a look at England. And just before, as the hooter goes, I'll just tell you if he is the top try scorer. So currently he is the top try scorer in the men's 45 division. So potentially that's what he's going for.
Right. The match is over. Great to see Portugal get one on the board. And Wales with a 6-1 victory. Ben is going to head over to the studio. He is going to be with Ian and Jordan. Thank you very much for watching today. I hope you've enjoyed all the coverage from here on Pitch 1. I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be someday, Super Saturday. Let's look ahead to it with Ian, Jordan and Ben.
Well, there we go, yes. Tomorrow is Super Saturday, where these glorious trophies are going to be picked up. And gentlemen, you both got big smiles on your faces. It's going to be quite a big day. You've been involved in finals day before. What are we expecting?
I'd expect, especially in the last three games, the best level touch that you'll see over the last 5 days. I think we've seen some cracking games, and I'm hoping for a few repeats, to be honest. I think we saw England-Wales in the mixed open, in the women's open. I really hope we get a repeat of those two games in the final tomorrow. Out on the backfields, we saw some unbelievable games today, and I just hope it skyrockets tomorrow.
I'm sure it will, Ben. There's certainly no sitting on the fence from Jordan there. How about yourself?
Yeah, exactly the same. The touch, it's going to be more intense. Tomorrow's going to be really intense, and people are going to be, you're either going to lose it because you're worried, or it depends what you do with that fear, right? So either you're going to lose it or win it because you can overcome that fear. And I just think tomorrow's just going to, skyrocket is probably the right word, to be fair.
Talking about overcoming fear as well, we've seen decent amounts of people scattering around watching the games, but tomorrow's going to be different for those final three, isn't it? How are the players going to cope with actually having to deal with rowdy crowds around them?
I think they'll love it. That's what we're here for. We don't get to play in front of big crowds all the time. It's only a couple of times a year where we have players finishing their days and then they watch the final. So tomorrow we watched France versus Wales Women's Open, and they were in a big crowd. We watched some of the men's games, and we watched the France versus England game out on the field too, and there was already a big crowd. Tomorrow, the final three games, no one else is playing, so you're going to have everyone else sat around that field. They'll have a beer in hand, they will be rowdy, they will be shouting.
One or two, maybe.
Absolutely, yeah. So they're going to be all over that as well.
Superb. Well, look, chaps, thanks so much for all your work this week. Day 4 draws too close. Tomorrow it's the final day. It's Super Saturday. Have a safe and nice evening, everyone. We'll see you bright and early in the morning.
Thank you.